It is always good to start class discussions by defining the important terms and discussing the general principles of the subject. For this session, we will be discussing some of the definitions of two of the most important terms in endocrinology. For this lecture video, we will be defining the terms endocrinology and hormone. Let's start by simply looking at the dictionary meaning of the term endocrinology. As defined in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, endocrinology is a branch of medicine concerned with the structure, function, and disorders of the endocrine glands. Take note that it is actually a branch of medicine and not a branch of physiology as one would expect. Also, it is particularly concerned with the disorders of the endocrine gland and not of the normal endocrine physiology. For the purpose of this course, however, we will be using a definition quite different from the dictionary. We will be discussing endocrinology in physiological terms. We will study it as a subject that deals with the communication between cells in the animal body through chemical messengers called hormones. As you may notice, we did not include the phrase endocrine glands in this operational definition, though we will also be dealing with them in the coming discussions. The reason for this will be apparent a little later. In addition, we will also focus on the chemistry of hormones, the processes they undergo, the anatomical structures involved with them, the contribution of each hormone to the body functions and overall homeostasis. So please remember this operational definition as we have our discussions in the coming weeks and in the rest of the semester. Now, let's go look at the definition of the term hormone. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the term hormone comes from the Greek word hormon, which is the present participle of the word hormone, which in turn literally means to stir up. This gives us the idea that in the early times, hormones are associated with stimulation of cells, tissues, and organs. A bit later, it will be apparent that there is a limitation with this association. From that origin, the term hormone had this classic definition. It has been defined as a chemical produced and secreted by a distinct gland, circulated via blood to stimulate its target cells in other distant parts of the body. Take note of the keywords in bold-faced letters. These suggest that for a body chemical to be considered a hormone, it has to be produced and secreted by a gland, it has to be circulated through the blood, and it has to stimulate its target cells that should be located far from where the hormone is produced. However, some hormones defy the classic definition in some aspects, but this does not mean that they are not hormones. Let's look at estrogen, for instance. It is produced by ovarian cells and are able to stimulate other cells in the ovary itself. This shows that not all target cells of hormones are distant from its origin or located in other parts of the body. Another hormone that defies the classic definition is somatostatin. It is also known as the growth hormone inhibiting hormone, or GHIH. The name itself indicates that it is not stimulatory and is actually quite the opposite. But this does not mean that it is not a hormone, as also implied by its name. Remember I mentioned earlier that there's a reason for not including the phrase endocrine gland in our operational definition of endocrinology? This next example shows us why. Serotonin is a hormone produced by neurons, immune cells, and gut tissues. This shows us that not all hormones are produced only by distinct glands. Some, like this hormone, are produced by cells and some tissues instead. This leads us to our operational definition of the term hormone, which would be a bit different from the classic one. Now and for the rest of the semester, we would be defining hormones as chemicals that are produced by glands and also by tissues and cells as well. Aside from being circulated in the blood to distant target cells, they may also diffuse to nearby cells. And they can either be stimulatory or inhibitory. I'm sure that you will be able to appreciate the diversity of hormones in the coming lectures. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for taking time to listen. Our next topic will be general principles.